Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I'm Zahara from Malaysia and today I'm going to talk about breastfeeding support in emergency situation. This is the content of my presentation. Breastfeeding is a vital emergency response as it actually provides the greatest protections against diarrhea and upper respiratory infections. We know that breastfeeding also delivers immune cells and bioactive complexes, all through passive immunity from the mother to the baby. It is well established that artificial feedings or infant formula can increase the risk of death from pneumonia and diarrhea by 14 and 10 times compared to baby who are given breast milk. And the younger the baby, the greater the risk. In many emergency situations, we find that usually there is limited or no clean drinking water and the environment may not be sterile, which make it impossible to ensure the cleaning and sterilizations of feeding utensils can be done properly. This graph showed there is a significant relationship whereby higher rate of diarrhea were noted among infants who actually received formula compared to those who did not receive formula. The question is why people donate, and this donation can come from many sources, Perhaps one of the reasons is because of media coverage that leads this donor to believe that, women cannot breastfeed in the crisis. So this donation should be refused because they can actually result in a few unwanted cases like baby who do not need formula may receive it, and some of the donation can be out of date or maybe unsuitable and making them very unsafe to be used by the infant. I'm going to share with you our experience in actually providing breastfeeding support during flood in East Coast Malaysia that occurs in December 2014. So this example were actually based on my personal experience and they may not portray the management at national levels, nor they were appropriate for other times or at other places. So this is a Malaysian map. We have East Malaysia and Peninsular Malaysia. I'm going to focus to East Malaysia in this red circle here. Flood are actually a regular natural disaster that occurs in Malaysia nearly every year, and it happened during the monsoon season, mainly from late November to December. And it used to be considered as festival season and enjoyment for many people, including the kids. But not in December 2014, whereby the flood was considered as the worst in the Malaysian history. It was described as like tsunami-like disaster, a yellow-colored flood because of high mud content. It displaced more than 200,000 people. However, there were minimal casualties and only 13 deaths recorded. But majority of the victims were mothers and infants. The photo on the left showed the main state hospital that were badly affected, and on the right showed these were from more remote area, which were also badly affected. Okay, what you see here is not a river. This is actually a paddy field. Even after the rain has actually stopped, it takes some time for the floodwater to subside. So we realized that the December 2014 flood was actually really bad, and something need to be done more aggressively than previously. So the religious department of the state actually called all these people who are interested to participate and volunteer, and they established this coordinated local trauma team. And fortunately at that time I actually joined the meeting, and I proposed to them that we need to have a specific team that look after the mother and infant. And my proposal was accepted, and they agreed that yes, we are going to have this team and I will have to help them to lead. And it was really a great start at the time. This team focused on two main areas. First is to train the imam or the religious leaders on the basic of psychological first aid, so they can also support mother and infant, and secondly, to directly support and promote breastfeeding among the mothers and infant. It's very important for us to actually get engaged with this imam, the religious leader in the villages, because they are the main gatekeepers and they are the one who actually receive donation, and they will distribute the donations to the needy in the place. These were during the training session with the imams. In total, we managed to train about 300 imams from 4 main districts that were badly affected. Since the majority of the imam were also the flood victims, this training served actually as a therapy for them as well. We took this photo after training session at all these 4 districts. Okay, next I'm going to talk about supporting mother and infant. We actually spent about 30 to 40 minutes talking to mothers as individual or in a small group sessions. We talk about the importance of continuing breastfeeding in disaster, and we discussed regarding how they can actually survive strategically during this period of time. We apply the PFA technique, look at them, at the surroundings, and listen to them, and try to be empathy in the situations. And before we leave, we make sure that we link them to the local authorities so they can actually continue to get helps whenever they need. When we visit them, we give them some high energy biscuits, drinking water, and we also give them this body wrap so they will feel comfortable to breastfeed in open space. We also provide these laminated pamphlets so they can actually refer whenever they need about positionings and attachment, and we also give them some tips on how to maintain breastfeeding. In total, we managed to provide support to about 100 mothers in 2 main districts at the temporary shelter or near their neighboring houses. It is also important for us to actually to support the fathers, and we make sure that we did that during that time. Next, I'm going to share about our encounter regarding the distributions of donated infant formula during this flood. How bad was the situation? So these were the response given by the mothers when we asked them about do they receive any infant formula. So for example, this lady said, usually I get 1 to 2 packs from a formula. In total, I have collected around 10 packs and different brands. Another mother said that when they came, the volunteers, they asked if there is any baby. If we say yes, they give us even if we don't ask for it. And this is another mother response, said that some of them ask, which one do you want? As they have many brands, so you can just actually choose which one I like. So for the question we asked them, so what did you do with the donated formula? This is one response from my mother. She said that since it's a free, so I take it and just keep it, And the response said, I give to my older child, 4 years old. I don't want to give it to my baby, the younger one. So she's well aware of that, and which is good. But the third one, her mother said that since I have it, so I give it to my baby. It's expensive to buy. I have no shower for a week, and I feel so dirty to feed my baby directly. So what a pity. This mother didn't have clean water supply and electricity for 2 weeks. The data from our hospital showed that the admission to pediatric wards due to diarrhea were increased more than 4 times and during this time compared to the year before. And we have to educate the family members in terms of proper food handlings and hygiene. We also help some mother to relactate and get the baby back skin to skin. I saw this photo was uploaded in one of the FB page, and it clearly showed that this medical team were giving some medical treatment, and they also actually display this formula openly. So I contacted them and explained to them that this shouldn't be the way. And And fortunately, they agree with my explanation and they removed this photo from their page. And it was so relieved to see that. We managed to document our experiences and publish this in an open journal. You're most welcome to read if you're interested. So what we learn mainly from this experience is that it's very important that training should be started before disaster. And we agree with Pam Chris saying that it's incredibly difficult to actually provide educations about supports during an actual emergency. And we actually feel that people were worried about thousands of things and they don't have the time and to listen to what we want to tell them. We learn a lot from our experience and we actually improve ourselves year by year, in terms of getting the data and be part of the trainers and volunteers in the preparedness training program. And we become more strategized in delivering the knowledge. And now we are preparing about, how to actually help the mother during this COVID situation. During the disaster, the welfare department updates their website twice a day in terms of the number of victims, so we can check where the babies are. For example, in here there were 218 babies, male, and 168 female babies were located in 66 temporary shelter. So we can go and see the details where they are and we can give support appropriately. We were having some support group discussion with the mothers at the temporary shelters. We participated in this preparedness program and we provide training how to help mothers and babies during disaster. And we had this pre-test before we started the training, and then we actually had some demonstration. We also showed to them on how they can support the mothers and infant. We also make sure that we manage to provide the training to top managers. And when they understand that, they also help us in promoting breastfeeding whenever they see the mothers and the babies. And we had more volunteers, people comes and donates and some money and also some of the time to be with us in our team. This infographic summarizes our involvements in the floods during December 2019. We had 2 media coverage and 3 training and education sessions. We visited 9 temporary shelters and managed to get about 24 volunteers to be with our team. And we visited 96 mothers and infants, and we provide about 106 breastfeeding kits for them. Well, basically that were our experience in providing skilled breastfeeding support during the flood in Malaysia. However, I can say that the management may differ according to the types of locations of the disaster, and it's very important for us to be familiar with the local context and regarding the rules and regulations. And I personally did study, what the needs of the victims and whether there are some culture values that I have to obey. And of course, we have some of our limitations and never overdo that. And very important for us to know when to refer them and connect them with the appropriate local help, because we will not be with them forever. Before I end, just want to share with you some photos of experience from other disaster situation. This was taken in Rohingya camp where I was involved with the medical team in 2017. I was so excited to see that, there's a label there, breastfeeding corner. Below this photo, I was helping mothers who had difficulty to breastfeed their babies. This was in southern Thailand, and we actually traveled there by road with our 4-wheel drive. It took us overnight to actually reach the disaster area, and we managed to provide some help to the Buddhist community. This was in Gaza, Palestine. The photo on the top was my session with the ladies talking about the myth about breastfeeding. and the bottom where we did the home visit to give support to the infant and the babies. So what we did was a very small contribution. Yes, we may not be able to change the whole situation, but at least we can put smile on these faces. So in a nutshell, before we can provide skilled breastfeeding support, it's very important for us to first prepare ourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally. Second, we need to study about the community where we're going, and we need to respond to their needs, but not to what we want to give them, okay? And we have to work as a team and comply with the local authorities, ensure we link them to appropriate person before we leave them, and know our limitations as volunteers. Lastly, you can always start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can to help mother and infant in emergency situation. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.